Hello, everybody. How are you? Christine here with Help Solve the Case. I'm sounding better, although I still sound a little like Seal, getting better from the bronchitis. I wanted to come on and see if anybody was here. We've had so many great questions in the community, on the comments on the videos about the broken plea case. You guys have been talking about Delphi, which is another case that I didn't follow, only can follow it remotely. And what else were we talking about? We've got Carmelo Anthony going. We've got the dismissal of evidence in the Luigi Mangione case. Like, what is going to happen with that? How is the trial going to proceed forward? What else are they going to lose? Hey, whoever's there, do you have any questions? Just came on, feeling a little bit better. Wanted to see what you guys wanted to talk about. If you had any questions, I know some folks have asked about the DNA process. I was thinking about, oh, I got food on my face. Nancy Guthrie. We're supposed to get some DNA results back hopefully soon. Who knows? And that would be great to get some relief for that case. But yeah, what is on your mind? I know there's so many questions with Bryan Kohberger. I don't know if we can even answer them. We can talk about what should have been done, what you think should have been done, but really somebody's got to step up and take care of that and do something. And the never-ending question also arises with Bryan. He took the plea. So what does that mean? What does that tell us, right? So who knows? And yeah, I don't know what to say. We can always go and sit back and Monday morning quarterback about what should have been done. Again, we don't know what he knows or what he didn't know. And it's hard. It's difficult. Let's see. We got Murdaugh trial coming again. How do you guys think that's going to go? There's been some talk about the death penalty coming back on, possibly, right? Because I guess with whatever plea negotiations they had there, the death penalty was taken off the table, and now they are able to refile it, it seems like. So did he place himself in more jeopardy by requesting a new trial? What do you think? Do you think that he can argue the same things again and get it off the table? Maybe the prosecution is going to be more prepared. Maybe not. The defense definitely has an intro into the case, what the jury said. So it'll be a completely different, like they talk in sports, right? It'll be a completely different team on the table this time on both sides. And what else? I wanted to talk about, oh, it's Janet. Hey, Janet, how are you? It might be just you and I. I wanted to talk about Carmelo Anthony. That's been very interesting to me because I want to do some research on the murder charge that he got arrested at the scene, because we're hearing, and I went through the police report, we're hearing indications of self-defense. And I just thought it was interesting. Folks ask, what do I look at when I'm looking at a case? And again, we can talk about Monday morning quarterbacking, but what did the officers know at the time with regards to probable cause? And what did they know later? Should they have made the decision that they did at the time? What's going to support it? Should they have, just tried to do some interviews and then let the state file on it? Who knows? It's just very interesting reading the report. And the police report was written, I think it was 7 hours later. So I'm just a little surprised there by the charges. So I want to wait and see how that's going to play out. I can look for some more pleadings. Hey, whoever else has come on, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat and talk about whatever you want to talk about. Janet, what do you want to talk about? Are there any cases that you have top of mind? Let me know what's going on in the in the world, in your area, your neck of the woods. We're just chatting. We're just chatting. We have folks that want to come on. They want to talk about genetic genealogy. They want to know why it seems to be so hard, why it's taking so long. Lafayette guy, hello. What case was I just talking about? Welcome. I was talking about Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that video, or is there a case that you want to talk about? I was talking about the fact I was a little surprised with the statements that were in the initial report. Again, I hate Monday morning quarterbacking, but it seemed like they had some pretty good witnesses talking about how he was provoked. And in looking at the statute there for murder, I'm just a little surprised, but it's Texas, right? So what case can I answer questions for you on? I don't know if you had a chance to watch that video. I'm just surprised that they charged such a high charge immediately with the witness statement in the initial police report. Why do I think that Bryan Kohberger took the plea? I don't know. I don't know why he took the plea. Life in prison versus death penalty. That's a huge equation. I've talked to a lot of folks that end up taking pleas on cases where they claim that they're innocent, obviously not a murder charge, but on cases that they're innocent because they feel that the system will not give them a fair trial and that they're not allowed the resources to do the cases. So, and that bothers me. I hate when I hear that, but I guess they've got to hedge their bets. A lot of the defendants, I had a defendant one time I was working with, he was in jail for 5.5 years before it was even getting to trial. And so taking a plea with the time that he already had, I guess made more sense. But you also become a convicted felon and you carry that charge forward. So I don't know who, we can all sit here and speculate about what we would do, but when it comes down to that time, what are we really going to do, right? So you can't make that decision. I don't know. He took it. I don't know if I can personally say based on folks that I've seen that I mean, I know technically it's an admission of guilt, but in his mind, was he just making the best decision for the time? Like, we don't know. That would be really interesting if he ends up talking to anybody. So, hey, whoever's here, do you guys have any questions? Lafayette guy, did you have a question specifically on a case? Do you want to talk about more about Bryan, or folks were asking about the Delphi, and I don't really know too much about that. What seems to be the main issue that folks are saying about that case that you think you have issues for? And Janet, when he took the plea, there's the evidence doesn't matter. I mean, I guess it does matter to him, but it's not going to go to a trial. So the jury doesn't have to quote weigh the evidence, and that's all it is. So let's see. Considering that perhaps BK could take an Alford plea, getting his plea vacated for something else and get time served. I don't know, but can he do that? I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. Everything that I've Googled and whatever says that he can't. I don't know. Does it go to the Supreme Court and get vacated somehow on ineffectiveness account? Like, I don't know. When they say no appeal, what does that mean? I mean, no appeal is no appeal, right? I don't know. That's interesting. I did hear some other folks giving me their opinion that there were more people involved, okay, besides BK. And again, I only read what I read in the book, and as I mentioned with you guys, what I knew about the forensic genetic genealogy. And I thought it was so interesting because from reading the book and what was articulated in the book and also in the Franks hearing challenges, that it seems like the phone and the car registrations and stuff could have fallen by the wayside. So that's interesting. Let's see. What else? Yeah. I don't know. How does that happen, Lafayette guy? Have you researched any of that about how that's going to happen? Cleanup and stage. Yeah, I don't know. It's just very interesting. The evidence presented when you hear the experts seems a little overwhelming, and I don't know how to make sense of it. I haven't again, just looking at the book, I haven't gotten into the evidence and stuff. But it would be very hard to make sense of it. So that's why when I have time, now that I've got my voice back, I want to go back and look at the particular evidence and kind of see. But yeah, his file post PCR, yeah. Oh, so he does have PCR. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah. By September. And so is Anne still doing that for him? Is Taylor still doing that for him? Because I heard you guys writing or in some other channel that she's still his lawyer. Do you think, like this just popped in my head, do you think the ineffectiveness of counsel was a planned event? What do you think about that? Could that have been the case? I think the book is very, very interesting, right? To have that come out. Any opinions on her? What other things? What other things? Any other answers I can give anybody? Someone else? We got somebody else here. Hey, whoever's popped on. I just thought I would come on and chat. I just had dinner. Sounding a little better, hopefully. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. What other cases are you following? She can't claim since it's her. Yeah, because he would have to go. Yeah, he would have to go by himself or get somebody else. I don't know. It's just bewildering. Right? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I don't have any answers for that. Because I think that the genetic genealogy would have fallen, and then the other two would have fallen if the timeline, like it's laid out in the book, and I know some of the dates are wrong, or not the timeline, but the statements and the testimony that was given at the Frank's hearing, that they didn't have anything up until the time the Bryan Kohberger's name was given by the FBI. So I think they would have fallen potentially. I mean, that's a good argument because they didn't even have the right year of the car. I don't know about the geofencing. There's some argument in the book that they had the car earlier, but in the book he I think refers to that, but in the Frank's hearing, in the sworn testimony, they said no, they didn't have anything. Okay. Can I do anything on Carmelo's case for you? I mean, I know you want to talk about it, so just let me know. We'll see what's going to happen. We'll see what's going to happen there. Janet, I feel they should have checked for more blood. Are you talking about the other reported evidence in Bryan Kohberger's case? Because that was interesting. That was interesting to hear that when I was reading the transcript. The glove, I think there was a glove outside, and then the banister, and then reading the book. Seems like there's stuff everywhere. Hey, everybody who's here. Looks like we have 5 folks online. Thank you. I'm just chatting after dinner. Wanted to see what you guys wanted to talk about, any cases. We've been talking about Brian, Carmelo Anthony, Luigi Mangione with his evidence getting dismissed. Man, he's lucky he didn't have the gun in the backpack. Again, I don't know anything on the ballistics, if they've actually tied that gun to it. Updates would be good. Okay. I'll look for some more pleadings on that. I don't know if that's really going to go to trial. Let me make a note of that. I just think that's a very interesting case on its face. And like I said, I'm very surprised of that nature. Like, obviously, let me just make a note. Obviously, that because that was an on view call, and I talked about that in the video. I don't know if you watched that. When something has happened and you're the officer on scene and everybody's pointing at somebody, you obviously have to do something, right? But we've seen a lot of cases where people just get taken into custody or whatever, and then they could be released, pending an indictment, pending, district attorney consultation or whatever. I don't know how that went down, but we've got 7 hours from, and it was very interesting the way the report was written. Like I can't say it right, prescience in the language in the report. So that was very interesting to me, trigger in my mind. But yeah, I'll look for some more pleadings on that. Yeah, I think, hey, Ample Spark, how are you? Newbie here. I'm only real fine BK Delphi now. Okay. Oh yeah, Scott. Okay. Well, I kind of got in trouble. Somebody was asking me why I was looking at Scott. But I love following all these cases. I have to do it between the time and my regular stuff. What's going on with Delphi? Carmelo Anthony is accused in Texas, Frisco, Texas, of stabbing another, I think it was another student. I was unclear whether that was college or high school, stabbing another student in Texas. What's going on with Delphi? What questions do you guys have for Delphi in particular? And then somebody else was also mentioning, I forget her name, the gal with the suicide, the alleged suicide. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Where is she? She's Boston, East Coast or something. Yes. Ellen. Yeah. So I don't know if they have any pleadings there. I think they're still deciding if they're going to change the determination on the manner of death. Yes? Am I right or wrong? I mean, it sounds pretty crazy too. That they because this is what most people, I think, don't realize. You guys are pretty up on it, but the fact that the police, their behavior is based on the determination by the medical examiner, right? So if it's not a homicide, if it's not a suspicious death, it's got to be changed. So then it becomes a criminal matter. Yeah. What else? What else is going on? Where are you guys from? What part of the country are you guys from? Are you enjoying the channel? What can I do better? How can I make you happy? My favorite, we're having dinner at. Oh, okay. Where are they from? We're having dinner at where they found. Oh, whose case? That's not. Is that on purpose? What case is that? Melbourne, Australia. Oh my goodness. Awesome. They always drum up business. Who always drums up business? Who always drums up business? I like the kangaroo. Oh, cops. Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Lafayette, where are you from? Louisiana? Or is that like a school or something? I heard the kangaroos can be mean. Can they be mean? Oh, LA. Okay. Oh, is that okay? LA. I was trying to associate with the name. I don't know. I don't have too much to talk about. I just wanted to come on and answer your questions and say, hey, do you like the longer videos or the shorter videos, or you want the pleadings, or what do you think? I could tell you stories. I could tell you stories, cop stories, but you may not like those. What's a question that you've always wanted to ask a cop and never could? Scott Peterson. Yep. That's interesting there too, what they put in the new pleading. Oh, I appreciate. Thank you so much. I really do. I just want to make you guys happy and do something that's interesting to me and give you a perspective. So, thank you for sharing with me. What time is it in Australia? I'm going to do better. I finally figured out how to get my phone so I could do lives from the car so I could take you guys around with me. You know, YouTube has like the best community. You guys are all so supportive, so I really appreciate it. Richard Allen's latest filing. It was very. Which case is that one? I'm trying to think. Which one is he on? 11:22 a.m. Oh, Delphi. No, see, I don't know anything about the Delphi case. That's why I need some direction. What I could look for that pleading. Is Richard Allen, is that his defense attorney? I'm assuming. Okay. I could look at that. Is it a suppression or what is it about? Yeah, 622. I'll look for that. What do you think the issues are in the Delphi case? Misidentification or falsification of evidence or failure of due process? Was he convicted at trial or did he take a plea? Everything. Okay. Oh God, don't make me laugh. Oh my goodness. He went to trial. Okay. Did they poll the jury? What did the jury say? Did they poll the jury afterwards? I remember when that first came out and they couldn't find anybody, and then all of a sudden it was wrapped up, it seemed. $11:22 a.m. I haven't been to Australia. All right, guys. Well, I don't want to keep you if you don't have questions. I appreciate you coming over and visiting. I really appreciate all the support on the channel. I'll look at what Richard Allen filed, and I'll set up a thing so my assistant scans for Carmelo, see what pleadings and stuff we have there. Defense Diaries, Rob Mata is doing great things for Delphi if you want a deep dive, but it's a wild ride. Okay. Bob. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like to take a look at the pleadings and go through the case with my own eyes. Like if the book hadn't come out on Brian, because it was such a hot topic and he was touching on the DNA, I would have preferred to go through the pleadings. Like I like walking through it. That's why I started with Carmelo with the initial police report, because I like going through it like the original cop would. I don't want to be, we talk about tunnel vision and not saying anybody's right or wrong, but I like going through it like the original cop would. And then I kind of, for me, I take a look at the PC. I was going to do a video on that about probable cause and how it ebbs and flows and goes within the case. And then, sometimes you have supervisors telling you what to do. You have district attorneys telling you what to do. Sometimes you have newbie officers that don't know what they're doing, and it really can shift a case. But I like starting from that way rather than, I don't want to say I'll get jaded, but looking at it that way. So watch the skirt. I don't know what the Scott Perky interview is. Good strategy. I don't know. It works for me. Thank you, Lafayette. Yeah, it just Um, I do it even when I come in because agencies bring me in to look at cold cases, and I do the exact same thing. I just start from, report one. If the scene is still there, depending on how old it is, I go out, I get a look, I read all the police reports. I spend at least a couple days just with nothing. So I build out the time. I spend a couple days and I just focus on that. And I write my notes and I write my questions as I go through. And then I try to answer all those questions, right? And when we talk about, thank you, when we talk about mistakes being made or things that are not followed up, right? Or we talk about alternate suspects that weren't investigated, that's how I account for that, right? Because all those little questions as I go through, I want to stitch all those up before I end up, if I was going to make an arrest or challenge somebody. Am I a PI now? Yes, I've been a PI since 2008. Mm, body cameras. You guys are going to get me. Whew, don't get me in a coughing fit. Um, I like both. I mean, originally, I didn't wear a body camera. I'm a dinosaur. You guys heard me talk about dinosaurs. I didn't wear a body camera back in the day, and I was initially against it, but I really think it's proven beneficial for the officers so that people get a view of what cops have to deal with and stuff like that, and it helps with accountability on use of force and things like that. And it goes get that out of the way. It goes the other way too. Um, but I think when we've gone electronic, and I think you guys have heard me mention that, I think um we've lost a lot. Like in the Brian Koberger case about the chain of custody, that we've lost all these paper materials that we used to have and all these forms. And even here where I live, Phoenix Police Department especially is all electronic. Their report system is bad. You can't tell when the report was written. The evidence numbers just get winged in there. The police report always says body cam when there may not be body cam. So it's really, I think, been a detriment to the old way of doing it. So I like both. I wish we would have more written stuff. Like I think it was in Carmelo Anthony, they actually had someone write a written statement, which I was like, yes, because you can go in with a written statement like what's the guy? Whitcomb is a statement guy, right? Like forensic linguistics, right? So you can go in with the statement. You can see hesitation where they scribble out. You can see the word choices. You can do handwriting analysis for personality. There's a lot of things that you can do with a written statement. So Scott is Idaho for alt perp. It's a doozy that is ignored by everybody. Since I was a police officer, let's see. Was it normal to write reports 6 months later? No. So sorry, my hair's no. So that's what I was raised in the issue. Hold on one second. Sorry. I was bringing up that issue even on the Carmelo Anthony case that it was 7 hours later. Because some of those reports that we saw in the book, right? And again, I'm just referring to the book because I haven't been through the Moscow PD or the Idaho State um, police archive, if they have one, is the fact that if it's got a DA number on it, a district attorney or prosecuting attorney number on it, that means that it was originated. And again, I could be wrong, but usually that means, we got to say all our allegedlys and all that stuff. Typically, that means that they were directed to write it for that office. Okay. And if that's an original cop that is not part of that office, then the report should have been written in that office. Does that make sense? Yeah, digitalization may be a problem. Yes. Plus the discoveries, like you'll blow out your computer on one case. Scott brings alt perp is not alt perp. Okay. When it's on paper, a bad actor has to actually access the files when it's all online. Well, let's talk about metadata, right? Believe it or not, a lot of people don't know about checking the software systems for metadata. Okay? So you can actually go into the system and see when they've been in there and who is editing what. In fact, there's some agencies here in the Valley that have alternate systems aside from the main reporting system that the defense attorneys and people don't know to go into. So, yeah, you need to make sure how it arrived from start to finish, right? And of course, they like to, determine. It's kind of like the notes, right? So back in the day, I'm going to my shirt pocket. We used to have our little notepad, and I would write my notes, and then I would go back and write our report. And they would say, excuse me, sorry guys. They would say, shred those notes, right? Because they're discoverable. So now they put their notes in the electronic system. So they type it up, I talked to Joe Blow today and he said this, I went to his house, whatever. And that doesn't migrate down to the report until they're ready to write their supplement. And so a lot of people don't go after the note-taking, journal type thing when I think they should. Hey, Megastar, how are you? What's going on? Thanks for popping over. We're just chatting after dinner. And I'm trying not to hack. So good to have you guys here. Yeah, we're just chatting. I appreciate the support. We're talking about electronic records and talking about starting maybe Delphi and what's on your mind in the crime world. Those are some good interviews. I was over when we were watching Turvey and stuff. He's very passionate, isn't he? Garlic and vitamin C. I did do the vitamin C, but I can do the garlic. Delphi and Idaho 4. Okay, so what do you want me to look at with the Delphi? What's the main issue? Yeah, I don't need to stink everybody out. You could take, are you talking about like taking the supplement pills, like that garlic or whatever? That's not supposed to have the garlic smell. It'll burn it all out. What's going on with you guys? Where to begin with Delphi? That's a hot mess. So I can look at some of the pleadings. Are they appealing on that one? Okay. Are they do you know what they're arguing? I figured it out. Yeah. Do you know what they're arguing? Oh, okay. That's the one, Ample, you want me to look at? Okay, from Richard Allen. Okay. I could pull it up probably. I'll have to find it. I don't want to lose you guys. I'm learning all my stuff. Now I have to get my StreamYard up. If you eat raw garlic and natural vitamin C, it works synergistically. Okay, awesome. Yeah. No, I'm allergic to dust, and I inhaled some dust and it went right. I go right to bronchitis pretty easily. But yes, if my immune system was up to par, it would be better. So thank you for. I love the holistic stuff instead of the Western medicine. Okay. Zinc. Yes, I was doing zinc, but you have to take quercetin, right? To get the zinc into the cell, I learned from Dr. Zelenko. Because we got the rat virus going around now. So we got to be careful. We got to get our immune systems up to par. 100%. Yeah. Yep. So, all right. Thank you guys for stopping by. What else? Any other questions? Let's see. Can you let me know about Delphi? That is the murder of the two little girls by the train track, right? Is that in Georgia? Was that in Georgia? Where was that? Right? That's the ranch. You're supposed to iron with vitamin C. Okay. I didn't know that. It's a transporter. It's a transport molecule or whatever. Oh, Indiana. Okay. I just remember the track, right? Wasn't there a railroad trestle or something? Zinc, calcium, magnesium, zinc, supplements, vitamin D. Yep, I do. Vitamin D with, you got to do the K2, the MK7 with the vitamin D. Yes, the bridge. Okay. And yeah, I'm working on it. I'm much better, but thank you guys. Yeah, I thought I was dying, but no, it went right from my nose into my chest. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, so I could take a look at that pleading and see what's going on. So we got 7 folks. This is awesome. Hey, whoever else is here, you got any questions? We're chatting after dinner. We're having true crime dessert here with a dose of holistic medicine for everybody. I love magnesium. I take magnesium every night. Helps you sleep very well. Vitamin A with the DNK2. Okay. All right. I haven't been taking vitamin A. The Richard Allen interview. Okay. And he's the defense attorney? He's the defense attorney? Strong bones too. Okay. Yeah, we can't have any osteoporosis. Okay. And you take them all together? Yeah, I don't think I've ever taken A separately. I've got liposomal C and the D and the MK7. Oh, he's the guy arrested. Okay. A humidifier. Yeah. Hey, Mayflowers, how are you doing? Yeah, all my familiar names here. No, I was yeah, trying to get the moisture and that helped because I'm in the desert here. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Yep. So I'll take a look at that. Any other questions you guys have? I'm working. I feel much better today. I slept really, really good last night, finally. Did I go over the Scott Peterson stuff? Or are we not allowed to? On my channel, you can say whatever you want. You might not get a nice answer, but you can say whatever you want. The Scott Peterson stuff. What did I read? I read his the appeal pleading, right? The itemized portions, but I did not get into the particular. Did I get into the particulars? I don't think I did. I think I just went over. I did not. That 653 page thing. Is that what you're talking about? That thing was huge. That thing was huge. So let me see. Hold on. What's the EWU live hearing? I do research identical calcium with K2 and DNA helps teeth and bones. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about the calcium. There was a lot of stuff going on. He was a jerk. Some people are saying arrogant. What's the EWU? What's the EWU hearing? For myself. Oh no, I didn't. Nope, I have not. Since I finished with the book, I have not gotten back into BK. I was trying to look for the evidence repository to go through some of the evidence. Let me see where I am. Yeah, a humidifier. Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, I lost one. Did I go over? No. So do you want me to, what do you think is a priority for you guys? I think he was a piece of shit husband, but I'm not convinced he killed her. Yeah, that's kind of crazy about the burglary. It seems very interesting about the people across the street or whatever. I mean, they and I thought the title thing that they were arguing on Scott, the fact that the guy that they originally used what did they say that he used I don't know, he used some sort of wind pattern or whatever that wasn't even the real one, and then the guy went in and used the real one, and it's completely different estuary pattern or whatever. So that was pretty interesting. Okay. This is good. See, I give you information. You help me. You help me feel better. That's good. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Hey, Buddy Murphy, how are you guys? Thanks for coming over. We're chatting and getting well. Yeah, I'm just trying to think about no, once I start diving into it, then I got to make 29 videos like I did. So, starting would be so medial and what I've heard, the water, that spot is only 4 feet deep. Really? Okay. Where the dumping supposedly occurred, off that point or whatever. Yeah, like you don't have significant sinkage, right? Did they find? I'm trying to remember when they found Lacey and Connor. Did they find the concrete or anything like, or was it just where they waited, allegedly or whatever? Because 4 feet, like that's kind of crazy. They did find the weights and stuff. That's a great name, Megastar. I think is there a band? No, what am I thinking? Megastar? I don't know. That sounds familiar. I mean, besides the chat. Yeah. A body would be visible from the air. Oh, because were they running patterns over the water? They were running patterns over the water. Yeah. Good point. Good point. Yeah, it was just very interesting. So I could go, that's 653 pages of minutia, particulars we could go over, or I could take a look at start looking at some of the Delphi stuff. Or I'm just trying to think because once I get into something, I'm really going to want to look at it. So I don't know what you guys want to listen to. That's going to be our all girl band. Okay. Delphi. Okay. Okay. What do you think? How many vote for Delphi? Raise your mouse. Raise your mouse. And of course I'll hit anything. What are you guys interested in Luigi Mangione at all? What do you think? I think they got that evidence suppressed. That was pretty sad about Pennsylvania there. But that was clearly crazy. I think all of it should have been suppressed, but it's interesting that the judge didn't think that he was detained. But okay. I know, but I need a little variety. I need a little variety. I don't think they are done suppressing on hey Raw. Okay, we got someone else. Raw Troyster. Hello. Thanks for coming over. You don't think they're done suppressing on Luigi? It's a sad situation. I know. But something's got to change, right? Like, do you think that they're going to be okay, Lafayette? Do you think they're going to be okay with what they're doing on the PCR right now? Or do you think something different has to change? Yes. With, with Mangione? Yeah, I think, I don't know, you think they're going to appeal that because it seems like, the guy in, excuse me, the guy in Utah, I think the whole thing should have been suppressed because I think he was not free to leave, but that would be my opinion. Robinson, yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, this is so cool. Hello. His family has money, and there are jurisdiction issues between the Pennsylvania and the New York. Yeah, it was interesting. In one part of the pleading, they were talking about the sovereign right of New York. I'm just throwing the word out there. You guys know what I'm talking about. The sovereign right of New York. But then they're applying some Pennsylvania stuff. So it's like crazy. Yeah. I vote Scott Perky interview. Okay, am I missing Scott Perky? I know we had some stuff up here. Let me go see. I could be half brain dead too, so let me see. Scott Perky. Did you guys mention that before? I know that sounds familiar. Where did that come from? Tell me, you guys. Sorry, I'm brain dead. Where we had lunch the day before, we heard it on the news. Everybody's trying to. Oh, the owner of what? The owner of what? I'm sorry, I'm not tracking. I'm lost. Oh, okay. Okay, so that's somewhere on YouTube? Okay. Okay. Okay, I got you. I'm writing it down. That's really his name? I thought maybe you guys had nicknamed something. Oh, okay. 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 Yeah, it's very interesting. So much stuff there. Okay. And then Delphi. Yeah, I remember that's where who worked there? Maddie worked there? I wish they would have torn the house down. What do you got? What do you guys think about them tearing the house down? I would have liked to see the house. Oh, both of them? Okay. Who do you guys think the intended victim was? I don't know. He pled, man. I want to know why he pled. Because I'd have fought that DNA like crazy. I mean, just, so here's the thing, the way I look at it, right? You have guilt and innocence, and you have due process and the court and the Constitution, right? And I'm all about the Constitution and truth and justice and getting the facts out there. So I gotta, oh, interesting. Yeah. I need to look at the photos because, well, I guess they said part of her dinner was in her bedroom and part of it was in the kitchen, or the pictures were in the kitchen. From Zana, saying it wrong. And I don't know, that whole chasing from the kitchen. Did you guys hear where I mentioned in one of the videos? Sorry, now I'm coughing, my nose is itching. It's not cocaine, really. I mentioned with the Gainesville student homicides. They had a big guy that was overpowered and stuff. So that always stays on my mind about, I know what Turvey says about what happened when. Bill of Rights is the best. Yeah, I mean, we have to have the Constitution. We got to have the Constitution overall, because if we don't, right, I think we all have to have our beliefs. We have our beliefs about what happened or didn't happen, or about who we want to believe, who we don't want to believe. But ultimately, we have to put ourselves in that shoes, and we want to have the due process, because without the due process, you don't have anything, right? Like talking about the elections and stuff, and we're not going to get into that, but if we don't have a fair election and we don't, imagine not having any freedom, and we're supposed to have these resources. I'm a huge advocate. I did my job as a cop. I've worked defense stuff, and it's about doing what's right and being no lying and doing the right thing, and however it comes out. It was wired. Targets were all the victims. The restaurants where they found his wife, Scott Peterson. Let's see. There were dirty plates and food all over Xana's room. Not convinced it was from that night. No food in her stomach. Interesting. Yeah, the whole thing about that, and where the blood and all that stuff was. We're the nation of laws. Yeah. I don't know. You got to stand on principle, right? You got to stand on something. All right, guys. Anything else? What else? So I'll look at Richard Allen. Or we're not. No in between. I agree. Black or white. They're not releasing info, so everything now is speculation. What was the judge's order on the files? I thought they were supposed to release everything. Can't we go in and get a copy of the court transcript and exhibits, or do we just get the court transcript? Has anybody tried to get it? Where is the evidence repository, right? Like the stuff, the videos you guys are looking at and some of the stuff you're looking at, where is everybody getting that from? Is there a main repository? Because it seems on Moscow PD, there's only paper documents, like PDFs. I think that's the hard part, is speculation. It's not about getting information released. Okay. Well, it's like, they hate the YouTubers. Everybody hates the YouTubers and the journalists, but I think legacy media is kind of over in a sense, but yet they don't want to, and I understand the balance being a cop. Like, you don't want to let certain things out of the bag, but you got to at least say something. You have to answer the question somehow, or you're going to have mass hysteria and everybody goes crazy. Okay, so Lafayette's saying Delphi, Richard Allen, Mangione, Carmelo, and Idaho. Okay, you want them in that order? God, don't get me laughing. I'm going to end up falling on the floor. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what, shouldn't it all be, if it was filed in court, shouldn't it all be open? Oh, cases in interest court in chat. Okay. FOIAs from Moscow PD, or they're heavily redacted or denied. That's interesting. Well, they're going to have to protect potential innocent parties. Like, I was going to do a live stream today because I want to do a lot of work on some of these cases in the genetic genealogy, because I think we have answers there within the family and stuff like that. And particularly like in Brian's case, I want to build out his family and just see who's there. Because we have this four brothers thing, right? And that's why I was asking you guys who the four brothers were. Just to see if I could find it within the family, to see how far they were off. But when I do the genetic genealogy, obviously I can't do that online or live, because we've got, innocent people in there that we just can't, in good conscience, put out there. So I can't share that. Reactions, Jules, true crimes reaction. Okay. Oh, okay. And footage. I live in PA. I have no idea who the four brothers are. Did we ever get a name? I mean, because it could be, did you guys understand? I don't know if you watched that video. It could have been some brothers over some distant cousins over here, and they just didn't go far enough in the tree to come down to Brian. So we don't know. Hey, Blue Rain, how are you doing? ISPs where docs from came from. Okay. Okay. All right. So Lafayette has given me his order. Hey, Asa, is it Asa Lisa 23? How are you doing? Blue Rain. Everybody's here. So nice. Aw, getting some blue hearts. That's cute. Colby or Austin A. Hello. Oh my gosh, everybody's coming in. Do you guys have any questions? Thanks for sharing my dessert time with me after dinner and somebody's breakfast. Somebody's breakfast time in Australia. Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am. Woo. Are you from the South, ma'am? Hello. Hey, y'all. I'm from the South. Yeah, it's just so interesting. It's so interesting. Yes. Where, ma'am? Where, ma'am, may I ask? Texas. Howdy. Howdy, Texas. South Carolina. Where is South Carolina? I used to live in South Carolina in Greenville. My nose is running. The flag is so pretty. That's it. You live in Greenville? No way. Texas is a different country. It doesn't count. Oh my gosh. Y'all are going to make me laugh too hard. The new slush fund. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I just finished a case in South Carolina. Oh my gosh, everybody's here now. Now I'm going to have to come up with some serious entertainment. Hey, y'all. Howdy. Hey, Outcast. Thank you so much for all the love and everything. Greer, but Greenville County. Oh, Greer. My mom worked for, I think, I know Greer. Like, that sounds familiar. Don't you know, bitch? Let's see. I thought I was entertaining. I went and knocked on their door. I don't know if that's true crime per se, but it's about filing complaints against weaponization government. Oh, okay. Howdy. What y'all want to talk about? We've been talking about everything. We've been getting some good health advice and a to-do list. So, yeah. No, I love South Carolina. I did finish it. I finished it, 6 days ago yet? Nashville. Nashville's fun. Excuse me, guys. Whew. I finished it and then I got bronchitis. What are you guys up to tonight besides hanging out with me? What's the word on the true crime front? You guys are just the best community, really. Yeah, I like Nashville. I had a friend, she lived in Lawrenceburg, which is outside of Columbia. So we used to go to Nashville every now and then. Those are some great interviews and stuff you guys are doing. I appreciate all the support. Oh, yeah? What did they say about his case? What would I like to talk about? I don't know. Whatever you guys want to talk about. The host here was asking any source of case info. Oh, any pointers on BK you're talking about? In between Greenville and Spartanburg near the airport. Yep. Hold on one second. I got to get a tissue. My nose is running. Okay. Yeah, I identified an unknown human remains case in Myrtle Beach. Case info on BK, anything. Everything will be ruled on a later date as usual. Oh, on Tyler. Yeah, sometimes they can take so long on those motions. The one was that Scott's case. Whose case? No, Luigi. They filed that. Was that August? And they just ruled on it, I think. I won't tell that. Oh no. I don't. Okay. I don't. I don't know about that. Interested in viewing case files video. Yeah, I want to keep you guys entertained. I want to be entertained myself and keep you guys entertained. And I don't have any of the documents. Like I said, I just started I looked at the case from the forensic genetic genealogy because that was a nightmare. And then when the book came out, when here's a cop, right, an ex-FBI agent saying that it was all kinds of messed up, I was like, what? So I had to read it. Oh, thank you. Feel more hopeful? Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, and then everybody wants, do I Discord? Do you Discord is the question? No, I don't Discord. I don't text. I email and I computer. Like I'm always in front of the computer. I don't Discord though. No. But yeah, I think talking about justice is the more people that get involved. And I was saying this earlier. Thank you, Perfume and Pages. Do you like books? Is that what Perfume and Pages is about? The reason I'm asking is because I write mysteries and stuff to raise money for the cases. But where was I going? When I first started in this, and I might have said it, I thought all cops were good. I thought all cops were good, and that when people would, blame them and whatever, they had to be just, BSing. And then I started really looking into some cases and I was like, this is horrible. And then you think the trial is about right and wrong. You think that a criminal case is about guilt and innocence. And it's not. It's about procedure. And then somebody asked, am I a private investigator? Yes, but I'm a private investigator. I'm a court qualified law enforcement expert. And I've investigated judges and I've investigated attorneys and it all, this was in 2020, right around the time of COVID. And I had to get out of it because everything went south and I lost my faith in the government and I lost my faith in the system. So I don't want to say I'm skeptical, but I don't believe anything anymore. So yeah. Sorry, my mouse was up there. Yeah, so it changed me. But yeah, so I mean, I could go over there to the Discord, but I won't answer messages and stuff over there. You love books, okay? No way, that's awesome. You're a writer too. Yes, 12 books. 12 books. Oh no. Yeah, oh, you said order my books. I was in a jury in Canada and it scared me. It wasn't justice. It's all, well, I think you guys heard me talking in the videos, if you listen to them, right? You could just press play and let them go. But we need to get to 1,000, folks. No, but because I want this channel to pay for the work that I want to do. But so I really appreciate your support. But what was I gonna say? It's about the show, right? It's like the Netflix show. And it's what story, like literally when the cases come out, okay, they file a pleading with the notice of defenses. Well, it could be self-defense, it could be mental capacity, it could be like there's a laundry list, which is almost like the plot line, right? Like you pick tropes, right? So I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to pick and choose the facts. Should this character be at this location and wear this outfit and say these lines, right? Those are your witnesses, okay? And then you come over here and you're like, what are we going to say over here? And which witnesses how are we going to present it? And then the judge, this is it, the judge is really not supposed to, hear any of it, the judge or the jury, and then they make their decision like they're the ultimate 5 stars or not when each side has put on their show. I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, because if we just stuck to the facts would be the facts and it would be pretty boring. Like they hand the case file to the jury and they'd be like, have at it, make a decision. No, it's theater and it's this and it's that and it's persuasion, right? So I don't know. That's my take on it. Lots of us in that boat, disillusioned. It is. It's crazy. I think defense needs to hire PR right away. Well, I think how can I say? I think it is a little lopsided because the prosecution, okay, this is going to sound a little crazy. The prosecution has to prosecute no matter what. Think OJ, right? But the defense has to defend, but they don't get the same leeway, I believe, from my experience, right? So the thing with the PR megastar, I think, is you got to worry about the jury tampering. I mean, not the jury tampering, the Murdaugh was in my head. That they've heard about it, whatever the heck that is. I'm losing my mind. It is amazing how much is kept from the jury, right? That's what I'm saying. And then afterwards you pull the jury and the jury's like, well, if we would have known that, right? So think about it. If a jury of 12 people, and a couple alternates was brought into the police department in Moscow, Idaho, and kept in there for a month and said, rummage through everything you want, walk through the house and make your decision, that would be a little different, wouldn't it? Right? The public defender should have equal resources, should have equal. And if you look at, I mentioned this, the American Bar Association guidelines for criminal defense. I have been prevented on cases from doing my expertise, even though there are statutory requirements mandating that they cannot influence my testimony monetarily. But it happens. It happens. It happens. Hey, Lisa, let's see. That too influence. Laugh. Okay. Yeah. So I think it is, because theoretically the prosecutor gets their annual budget. I mean, let's say it's 1 million and the public defender gets 1 million. And if they need more, right? You just have to get more. Going back to Delphi, that will blow your mind how much was kept out because of the judge, especially the alternate perps. Well, how was it kept out if it's exculpatory? Yes, there are public appellate attorneys. It's usually called, well, let me rephrase that. I know when I was in Florida, they had capital help for PCR, but I'm not sure on regular cases. They might be on their own. Yeah. Yeah, they try to limit what I can do on the case. And so they're and so here's the take on it. My opinion is supposed to be independent, right? So I could say the police did a good job or the police did a bad job. But they constrain me into a time and a number of hours. And so I can't. We were talking earlier about how I go into cases and I read through everything and I start looking at it like I was investigating the case and I make my notes about alternate suspects. I would interview this person, right? So if they say somebody talked to somebody, then I'm like, okay, I want to interview that person. I make a note and then I go into the discovery and I look for the interview because I want to listen to that interview. And then if the person wasn't interviewed, I'm like, why wasn't that person interviewed, right? So I go through the whole case. I got them telling me I can't even look at discovery. I said, well, how do you want me to form an opinion? And they're like, well, you're a law enforcement expert. I'm like, yes, they're the entire case from start to finish. Like, how do you not want me to look at stuff? Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. And there's statutory protections that say that they cannot do that. I had one case, I had to go to the judge 3 times and they disobeyed a court order 3 times to pay me and to continue me on the case. So, what do we do with that? You guys got to argue and legislate and get, proper people in office. But obviously not your expert anymore. What does that mean? What is it? Okay, I hear you laughing. What do you mean? Obviously not your expert anymore. I'd walk away from the work. From the work? Yeah. Well, I told him I was going to sue him. Told him I was going to sue him. It's hard though when you have somebody that needs your help and you have the answers and the case is right there in front of you, the challenges, right? Like with Brian's case, just the forensic genetic genealogy. I'm like, how is this just a tip? How does this do this like this, right? He pled. What do you do with that? Right? So, I'm a fighter. And but it's up to the defendant and the attorney to argue the case for them, right? If they don't have the tools that they need, I can only fight so much battle, right? But yeah, I don't work, I don't get paid. I don't move if there's not money on account. So that's just how it goes. This is fun. What else? I don't know, I have to say, excuse me, guys. I don't know. I don't know if it's blatant corruption or injustice. There's a lot of apathy. There's a lot of not accountability for people doing their jobs. Like I've had investigators lie to me in cases and it gets brought to people's attention and nothing's done. So, it's like the organism, it's an organism and it would all have to be dismantled and put back together. And I don't know how that would even be done, right? Because it would get so far behind. It's like the I Love Lucy video where the chocolates and stuff are going down the conveyor belt and then they're eating them and shoving them in their pants and it just gets too much going on. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. That'll be really interesting. It's kind of crazy. Really disturbing. Eating them, yeah. Really disturbing, some of this stuff. And I did have to walk away for a while. I walked away in 2020. I was investigating the judges and I said, I can't do this anymore. It was so depressing. I said, I can't do it anymore. And I walked away in 2020 and then I came back in 2023 because somebody asked me to come back on some cases for some people. So I can't help it. I'm a bleeding heart to help people. The man, that's an interesting take. The man that makes the goal makes the rules. Very interesting. Yeah, some of the things that I talk about to some of my clients is that the public defender, for example, I mean prosecution too, but public defender is a business, right? So my question has always been, when you have to be accountable for a budget, think of it like the family budget, right? And you have to decide what you're going to spend money on, then, so you have the administrators of the public defender's office, and their goal is justice, right? Due process and all that, but they're managing a budget. And they have to be accountable for the budget. And if they're not good budget stewards, they can get fired, right? If they bring lawsuits, like conversely, they bring lawsuits on the agency, that's bad. But if they waste money and spend more money, that's not good either. But aren't they supposed to be, and they really shouldn't be in the cases, evaluating the cases, but I think they also need to have the ability, right? Like let's just say you have, an OJ case or whatever, or we had, what's her name? Jodi Arias, right? Well, how much money was allocated for that defense? Like, there has to be some extra or some way of getting extra for unforeseen whatever, even though you have a budget. Yeah. Did I learn genetic genealogy on my own or for my job? No, I don't know if you saw my story. So in 2017, I found out that I wasn't who I thought I was, and neither was my mom. And I paid the experts, these experts that I love. Okay. Now you see my interest, these experts. And they told me, nah, you'll just have to wait for a better match. And I'm like, I don't know who I am. Okay. That's unacceptable. BS. And so I learned it. And I learned it. And when I learned it, I was like, oh my gosh, the cops need this. Because, okay, my first case, 48 hours, boom, 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 boom. It's easy ID, okay? When they say you can't make an identification, yes, you can, all right? You got to work the matches and stuff like that. So I taught myself, and then I started, that's my company up there. I teach the cops how to do it. Over there. I try to do it. And then that is I donate services to underfunded police agencies. You guys might not want to hear that, but I'm all about doing the cases right and following police investigative procedures, standard operating procedures, so that we don't have these problems down the end in the courthouse. So it is very interesting. Teach us by you. Yes. It's pretty simple. I might be starting my classes again. We got to see what I'm doing there. Looking at some stuff for some defense cases. I'm doing a presentation for a group for the Arizona public defenders next month about genetic genealogy, because they don't understand it. Like that nonsense in Brian's case, like you guys, I'm sure if you watch the videos, you could tell my tone. My tone was a little different. That nonsense about the tip and all that, whatever happened over there in Brian's case, no bueno. That's not how that should happen. No, I do not. Where did I see his name? He got mentioned somewhere. Was that Brian's case? Where did I see that name? But no, I'm a no-nonsense person. Okay. Nope, I'll have to look at that. But yeah, working on that to challenge. But we have to remember, even with the ID, let's say on genetic genealogy, sorry, I'm chewing ice. Even if, let's just say, Brian's case, for example, let's say there was whopping his blood all over that sheath, right? Well, blood is a little different. Let's say there was more touch DNA or whatever, like my thing, like I explained in the video, he could have just, it's plausible if that was his DNA, he could have just looked at it in the Big Five, been like, oh, cool, knife sheath, okay, put it back, right? Identity versus activity, right? We're talking about that in the Nancy Guthrie case. This DNA that they have. Okay, did the person have a legitimate reason to be there, right? What does this stuff say about the case? Like that's why it shocked me that the phone stuff. Okay. We got this other untested evidence. I don't like open I was going to say open loops, but you know what I'm saying, like unanswered questions. Because I'm not going to be sitting on the stand and have somebody say, well, did you look at this? And I'm going to be like, no, I didn't. Right? Like you hear in the court, don't ask a question that you don't know the answer to. Why would you not pursue it? Yes. Yes, genetic genealogy. So CODIS has to be a one-to-one match, or like a parent to sibling, that the parent or sibling is in there. Okay. Forensic genetic genealogy is not a one-to-one match. Just like if you took an ancestry test, the DNA goes in and the matches come out, and every single one of those matches is a relative. That's why. So then you build out the family trees for the relatives, and based on the scientific principles of DNA, how much DNA is shared between two people, that's how you determine who done it or who it is. And that's why I'm saying these brothers could have been somewhere in Brian's family. I could have legitimized what Othram came back with, but it sounds to me there was nothing. Okay. I don't know, was that preliminary report ever released? That would show, were they on the right track? Okay. Cell data is conspiracy. Oh, Gilbert. Okay. Yeah, I don't know him. Behavioral fusion. Behavioral fusion. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, it's very interesting, very fascinating. And you can definitely make an identity. Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't intend to do it, but yeah, so it's going to be moving mainstream in all the cases. We're going to have to know how to, right? So you're going to need experts on both sides, right? You're going to need a prosecution expert to validate it, or at least in the police department, somebody that's validated it. And then, which was the problem when what's his name? What's his name? Dylan, the corporal guy, Payne was on the stand, and she's asking him, "Did you get a report? What did you know? How did they get it?" And he's like, "I don't know, nothing." So yeah, so you're gonna need somebody on the prosecution to validate that and make sure it's correct, and then probably somebody on the defense side that can come in and validate that it's correct, or have the defense attorneys trained so that they can interpret, like defense attorneys probably now are pretty good at reading a blood alcohol report or some of the CODIS hit information and stuff like that. So once they get the ability to read and interpret it, they'll stipulate to it, right? Do I feel there should be limitations to what law enforcement can access concerning, for example, they're not? No, I think that's ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. They should have learned 30 years ago with the OJ case. Are you talking about Othram, the Othram deal? Well, that's the problem, that the police, that's why I'm educating them, because they don't know how this process works. And these for-profit companies are not police agencies. So they're not indoctrinated in police procedure. Like me, when I do the cases and the people that I train to work on the cases, we work cases like cops. That's why I call it forensic genetic genealogy. It's not investigative genetic genealogy, it's forensic, because it's going downstream to court, and it has to withstand the court challenges. So it gets worked like every other case, and that's it. No nonsense there. Chain of custody, yeah. No, I don't think. I mean, ancestry matches. I mean, I can go on your Facebook page and see who you're related to. So, no, I there's nothing in there. This medical nonsense and all that stuff is. Speak of OJ, Mark Fuhrman passed away. Oh, he did, huh? How to handle DNA evidence. What are you talking about on chain of custody? Yeah, when I teach them, I teach them what to ask for. And I mean, let me explain this. So genetic genealogy, and I might have said it in a video, to me as a cop, right? Looking at it from the cop perspective. In the old days, we used to go out and look for suspects. We would go do what we call shake the trees, go figure. We shake the trees, knocking on doors and talking to people. Who does this sound like? Who does this look like? Da 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 da. And then people would give us leads and tips. Sometimes family members, okay? They would turn their family in. When you do genetic genealogy, it's basically the same type of neighborhood canvas. These relatives are pointing at their family member, right? So it's the same thing. Like there's some big secret about who somebody's brother or sister, like come on. I mean, you can look at people and see a resemblance. So this whole privacy I think is crazy. But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, you will definitely, with the genetic genealogy, you will definitely get the right ID. Now you have to determine, this is where I'm saying we're shifting from the DNA's present, has to be him or her, to what is the activity, right? And I think we're asking those questions in Kohberger. You guys asking those questions about the knife sheath, right? My first question was, the DNA was where? The DNA was here? Here? And I immediately went to the last time I was at the sporting goods store and all the things were hanging on the shelf. And I pick them up and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Look, I can hide the gun in my purse and, things like that, right? And you touch everything. Anybody who's gone shopping, at least like the women, right? We got to look at it, flip it over, look in it, do all this, and then we put it back. Your DNA's there. Okay? And so where do you go there? Yeah. So you saw Kind of Surreal. What was Kind of Surreal about Mark Fuhrman? But yeah, so you got to figure out how the evidence got there. Is there a legitimate reason for the evidence to be there? And what about the other people that were there? So is it just I can't say if it's a coincidence. I can't say if it's a coincidence. All you need is probable cause. You have to get, remember we were talking about the Netflix show. So they have to get from probable cause that it's more probable than not to beyond a reasonable doubt, right? So isn't that an interesting, I was going to say activity or question. It's not that. Isn't that an interesting challenge? So let's talk about that for a second. So at the time that you make an arrest, you only have these things. And you only have to have the bar, probable cause, 51%, whatever you want to call it, okay? Probable. It could be probable. But then with that same evidence and through the show, right? And the pleadings and all that, pick me, don't pick me. All of a sudden, you're beyond a reasonable doubt, right? I mean, if you think about that as a juror in the court system, if you only have just above a half, how does it all of a sudden become 100% with the same stuff, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. The lessons we understood you. Okay, yeah. So it's just crazy. You don't have to retract them, just let them rip. No, but yeah, so it's very interesting. Yeah. But yeah. What holds more weight, a handwritten report or electronic report? If they both state different, okay, that's a good question, Ample Spark. What holds more weight, a handwritten? Now, who's holding the weight? Who's holding the weight, me or the jury or the judge? Who's holding the weight? Let's see. So a handwritten, let's talk through this. A handwritten report is done at a certain date and time, and you have the forensic parts of it, right? So you have you have the hesitation, you have all that stuff. Um, and depending on whether the person likes to write or doesn't like write, you might have more or less. Then you have the electronic report. But I'm also thinking if you had a good software system that has good metadata, you'd be able to see the backspaces and erases, right? Because the error is like the Freudian slip when somebody writes something and then you cross it out. Now, in my police department, we used to handwrite, we used to white it out. So you wouldn't have that there. So with a good software, it's a toss up. I think I would have to be a little more towards excuse me, electronic used properly. But most people don't know about metadata. They don't pull the metadata. Touch DNA should be inadmissible. It should scare everybody. Did you guys look at there was a case I was looking at in the bicycle people, was it Austin in Texas? And they said they were arguing the transfer to the handlebars from Touch DNA. Clarifying for the host. You're clarifying what? Oh, thank you. You can also see that when the report was looked at as well as changed. Yes. But the interesting stuff is what I was saying earlier is as they develop suspects and leads, that goes into a whole different database that we usually don't have access to. So hard for them to find out how they tested the right car. Should have. Question about STR versus NP. One item is evidence. Swab for DNA. DNA extracted from the swab. Yes, it requires a separate, the pull. So you're going to get the cellular material off of let's just say the Q-tip. Okay. And then you have to decide what you're going to do with it, right? So if you only have a small quantity, you have to decide, and I think that was a question in Brian's case, whether you're going to go for STR or you're going to go for SMP. Yes, hanky panky mom. Yeah, does that make sense? Oh, that's cute. What is that with I see the hearts and is that teeth? That's cute. Yeah. So that's the problem with a lot of cases because we've got a lot of sexual assaults and stuff with no CODIS hits with STR. And so we have to go and pull again. And a lot of the cases don't have evidence. This is where the sheet was found, handwritten on the days. Oh, you're talking about the yeah. Excuse me, sorry guys. Yeah, so it sounds like from what I was reading, he took maybe he had a notebook as he was, who is that? What's his name? Tolbert? Was it Tolbert? Had a notebook as he was walking around and bagging and tagging, or he was walking around with they put those numbered things out and itemizing. And then once they got into evidence, they took the evidence item number or whatever, and then it went on to the electronic thing. So I don't know I don't know how you get from floor to bed. I don't understand how that would happen. Unless he wrote it wrong. And then you go and look. Another problem is we see in these police reports, I think I mentioned that they don't take adequate notes and details. Their minds are not set to, super capacity memory like mine was back in the day. Mine was back in the day because we didn't have anything. We had to remember it. So we had to know what to focus on. Now they rely on the body cam footage, and in so many cases, they didn't turn them on or they didn't store, or it gets corrupted, and then we don't have it. And they don't review the body cam before they write the report. So you always got to look at the body cam footage. Thank you, Megastar. So the actual vial with the extracted DNA would have to have been delivered to Othram. Correct. Yeah. So the way I understood it, ISP got the DNA off of the sheath and then sent that down to Othram. That's the way I understand it. They drove it, they flew it down there, or they drove it down there. When we make errors in written reports, we had to do the initial and correction. Yeah. Were you on the job, Troyster? Were you on the job? Well, back in the day, we hand wrote them, and then they went and got typed. They got typed. I guess this where I have an issue with how long reports are taking to write. Your memory is yours is absolutely. Oh, fiery mess. Yep. Okay. Run reports. Those are fabulous too. You guys make some great observations that people don't pull. Work in a case right now with the DUI, with the admin per se, and they said the dude was unconscious, and he's very much conscious. We used to know 30 phone numbers. That is true, right? Have I had it? The forensic lab reports from ISP? No, I have not. I thought Payne was the first one who actually saw the sheath 4 hours later after the 911 call. I think he might be the one that noted it, right? Because it would have been, I think there were some questions that Whitcomb had in his book that why didn't Nunez note it? But I think I explained that Nunez probably didn't note it because he thought he was going in there for a drunk, passed out co-ed instead of seeing a horrific murder scene, right? And so when you go in on a medical call, and Troyster can talk to this, right? Your first thing is helping the victim. Like, you are worried about a little bit of danger, but your focus is on rendering aid. And so looking for things like that probably was not. And then he was probably so freaked out at that point. But yeah, let's see. Especially the ones that might not have been recorded. I'm trying to get which ones recorded. I'd love to hear thoughts on them. Which thems? I'm trying to get it. The forensic reports. Okay. Bronchitis is no joke. Thank you. I am. Thank you. I thought I was going to cough up my lungs, but yes, I agree. It seems like there's different reports. Yes. Thank you, Hanky Panky. Yeah. Yeah, there are differing accounts. And how do you reconcile that? So that's another thing. So typically in the case, they will write a supplement report and they will correct it. And that can be done. Like sometimes you're going back and you're reviewing your own reports and you're like, oh, crud, right? Or like you're reviewing something to go in for testimony. Hopefully you're reviewing your body cam footage and your report before you go in to do some testifying or doing an interview, defense interview. And then you see something and you're like, oh my goodness. And then you write a supplement to correct it. So yeah. What else you got for me? If you guys don't have anything, what else? Yeah, so I got to look at all that stuff. And it's very interesting. I love talking shop. It's always good to get everybody's different perspective. Yeah. Love my name. My name? Which one? Me? Christine, or help solve the case? Oh, Lisa. Oh, Hanky Panky Mom. Sorry. That is a cute name. How much Hanky Panky? How much Hanky Panky? Whoo. Now, discoverable for the defense. Are we talking about Brian? Oh, very cute. Very cute. I like that. Are we talking about Brian for the discovery? Any case. Okay. Anything, well, look at Brady versus Maryland. Look at Brady versus Maryland. There it is right there. Anything that has potentially exculpatory information, anything that's going to be used at trial has to be given. I'm not a lawyer, just my experience, but it has to be given. So, how is it not discoverable? So, this is where I hit on in Brian's case because they called it a tip, but Ann Taylor agreed to call it a tip. Why didn't she issue a subpoena to get Othram's records? I don't know. I love that movie with Chima. Yeah. Brady and Giglio. Yeah. Yeah. It's right there. File it. File it, file it, file it. You know, and that's the thing too. You got to, even if you don't think you're going to pass it, you've got to file it to get it on the record for appeal. So, yeah. I did not. Sheldon. I did not. All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. I'm going to go and get some rest and drink some water. And I'm going to make sure I take all my vitamins. Thank you so much, everybody. And it's wonderful having you here. We'll have to do this more often. And so I have my list. I'm going to see what I can find on Delphi. And take a look. I'll go back through the chat. Thanks, Sarge. Oh, I really appreciate it. It's so nice having you guys here. Facts. All right. Thank you, guys. You guys have a good night. I appreciate every one of you so much. All right. We'll see you later. Thanks, everybody.